Hello friends, how are you? Myself is Dr. Jineswani. I am a corporate lawyer. Prevention of Corruption Act is basically a part and parcel of corporate lawyering. Whenever we are indulged in a false corruption case, what we do? Basically, we are going to contest a case. But whether the manner adopted by you is justified, in your opinion, I think that your approach is totally orthodox. You have to update your approach so that you could win in a false corruption case. Otherwise, you would not be able to ensure you are winning in a false corruption case. To do the same, I request all of you to maintain your proper file along with your counsel. If in a simple way you are receiving a charge sheet and giving it to your counsel, in that scenario, at that time you are going to lose your case. Because no one in this world could save you, even myself. Only you could save yourself. For this, you are required to read the entire file. You have to find out the shortcomings, you have to find out the material concealment, you have to find out the false facts so that we could have the effective case on the record. You are requested to put an unique case for a judge so that he could understand your grievances and could incline remedy in your favor. But now the primary question arises how we can do the same. Friends, first of all, I want to clarify all of you that we are in the era of technology. We are in the era of AI. And apart from that, we are having the optimum resources by the virtue of which we could do research at our own level. And apart from that, we could have the support of outbound counsels so that we could prepare an effective review of our case so that whenever we are going to argue our case on charge, then we could say with justification that we are ready. We are going to face the case on trial basis, then effectively we could say we are ready. Or whenever we are going to go for questioning, then effectively we could answer ourselves in the same manner. But the basic point is that right now you want to get a remedy. But thing is that without getting the proper information or knowledge, you are going to proceed in illogical way. And ultimately, when the case is rejected by Honorable High Court or by Court of Session, an order is pronounced against you in that scenario, you got mental anxiety and panic. So to remove all these things, I request all of you to do the proper review of your charge sheet. Otherwise, you would not be able to contest your case in effective manner. Because usually I observed that basically we are going to emphasize on the case without knowing the merits. If it is a trap case, the prime thing to be noted is that there should be a demand. If demand is not in the existent in that scenario, the case would not be sustained against us, even though there is a recovery or acceptance. Because sometimes it is observed that the client even complains to me or advocate are saying that there's a recovery, why you had gone, that's why you are good. But the primary key is that we have to find out what is the voluntarily demand. If demand is not sustained, it is not supported by corroborative evidences. Apart from that, the evidences are inconsistent. In that scenario, we could easily have the benefit. So the present class is to aware all of you how to read the charge sheet, which is available with you. The first point is that we have to read the FIR. FIR is a prime document, although it is not an encyclopedia, but it is a document by the virtue of which a criminal law comes into motion. As far as trap cases are concerned, it is registered as per Section 7 of PCA. While reading the FIR, you have to find out the time of occurrence, the date of occurrence, and apart from that, when the matter is reported to the concerned PS. For this, you have to peruse clause number 3 of the FIR. And yeah, Madam Cardin. And apart from that, you have to find out whether there is a delay in FIR or not. For this, you have to peruse clause number 8 and have to find out whether there is a special marking regarding the same in the concerned FIR or not. And apart from that, we have to understand the contents and have to find out whether there is justification in the FIR or not. If there is no legal compliances, but despite of that, FIR is registered in that scenario, FIR would be illegal. For example, there is a case of demand only. You are not caught red-handed in that scenario. The strict compliance of Section 17A of PC Act is must. If there is no compliance in that scenario, the FIR would be illegal. For this, you may note down the important judgment of Honorable Rajasthan High Court. That is Rani Dhahan versus State of Rajasthan. Judgment date is 8th of October 2024. Second point is that there is verification of demand. And without verifying demand in the right perspective, the proceedings would vitiate. And ultimately, we could challenge the proceeding on that ground. We must understand that. For doing the verification of demand, usually IO or TLO. TLO means traveling officer. Used to give the voice recording to the concerned complainant with direction go and have the proper recording. And the concerned complainant with the help of recorder used to record the alleged conversation and inter alia try to convince the concerned authority that there is a demand. And without verifying all these things, the concerned IO TLO used to come to the conclusion that there is a demand. But the primary question arises whether they verified the pendency of work, competency of work. It is seen that in multiple cases there is no pendency of work. Despite of that, the accused got tried. Pendency of work is one of the most important criteria to determine the motive on the part of accused to make a demand for undue advantage or not. If there is no pendency of work, even though accused is caught red-handed in that scenario, even accused could have the benefit of acquittal or quashing as per the guidelines of Honorable Jharkhand High Court in an important case named as Parmod vs. State of Jharkhand. It is pronounced on 16th of November 2022. And apart from that, the concerned investigating authority is bound to follow the guidelines of Honorable Supreme Court. That is Lalita Kumari versus State of UP. Judgment date is 12th of November 2013. In that case, the concerned IO is made under a legal duty to verify all the facts to find out a prima facie case. If they are not able in that scenario, we could easily have the benefit. After that, we have to find out whether the demand is verified in presence of independent witness or not. If the set protocol is not followed, and apart from that, in the presence of concerned persons of the office, the demand is verified. In that scenario, we are having the additional benefit. We have to see the pre-trial memorandum, and we have to see whether the procedure adopted by them is justified by law or not. Sometimes it is seen that there is no source authentication of phenolphthalein powder, but despite of that, they are going to conduct the proceeding. In that scenario, the entries of Malkhana is very much important. And apart from that, we have to put up the RTA to know whether they purchase phenolphthalein powder in reality or not. If there is no connecting evidence in that scenario, we could have the benefit. Apart from that, we have to see during the trial proceeding what steps are taken by the concerned authority. Whether the sampling of the concerned chemicals are done at the inception or at a later stage. If it is not immediately, then we could have the benefit. For this, you may rely on N. Vijay Kumar versus State of Tamil Nadu. Judgment is pronounced by Honorable Supreme Court dated 3rd of Feb 2021. And apart from that, we have to see whether the justification of the concerned accused is taken on the spot or not. For this, we may rely on rule number 47 of CBC. And apart from that, during the trial proceeding, whether the demand had been recorded or not. And what are the justifications? Sometimes it is seen that the accused is inter alia caught by the concerned co-accused. The said proceedings are illegal in light of judgment of Honorable Rajasthan High Court. Judgment name is Ramesh Purohit versus State of Rajasthan. It is pronounced in the year of 2010. So we have to see the compliances and the way to proceed. And apart from that, concerning sanction order, we have to see whether it is cyclostyled or mechanical or indicating non-application of bond. If all the materials are not considered, even we may challenge the sanction also. As per guidance of Honorable Supreme Court, in an important judgment titled as CBI vs. Ashok Kumar Agarwal. Judgment date is 31st of October 2013. So these are the important guidelines to study the entire charge sheet. I think that I am totally able to cause all of you to understand the basis to review our case at our own level. If you are not going to review, it means we are going to play with our case and going to deal our case in casual manner. Always remember that dealing in casual manner may cause a great casualty in your case. So be aware, be alert, be informative and knowledgeable. See you in the next video. Till then, जय हिंद, जय भारत।